And tonight, we are opening with an interview with Temporal Recon. Yes, this is a study of time travel, or more specifically, a time traveler. And as we look, this is a true story of one of those people, a man known as John Titor, who appeared in November of 2000 to give us a 6-month sermon, or 6-month education on life in 2036. Over these months, he answered questions, provided photographs, and large amount of commentary. And he even told us that he was with the 177th Temporal Recon Unit of the United States Army, sent back to 1985 to try to make contact with his own grandfather, who was an IBM engineer, who was the master behind a little-known IBM 5100 computer that was very much needed by the military in the future in 2036. And it was John Titor's job to return back to 1975 and gain this computer. Well, he made another appearance then after 75 and 2000 to show up here and tell us his tale, knowing that once he had done this temporal displacement, he could never return home. Well, tonight we are not talking with John Titor. Tonight we are talking with a researcher who has gone deep into the John Titor story after he made his amazing appearance on Coast to Coast and many other places and sparked as much controversy as we could possibly imagine a time traveler would do. TR would be known as Anonymous and has written a book known as Conviction of a Time Traveler. And TR, I want to welcome you to this show, and I'm really looking forward to our talk.
Oh, hey, thank you so much for having me on. I really welcome the opportunity to be able to talk about John like this, and I know we're going to have a good time tonight.
Fantastic. Well, what led you to study, give up a year of your life to study John Titor?
Well, what led to when faced with some really eerie coincidences, I had to start looking at it a little bit closer. I think I had heard of John Titor when he first came on the scene, or maybe immediately afterwards. You know, I mean, everybody searched the internet, and I think I probably ran across it, and I probably, like a lot of other people, I really didn't pay him much attention. I mean, just some kook on the internet saying that he's a time traveler, and I didn't really pay much attention to it. But obviously, what with time and perspective and hindsight being 20/20, about a year or so ago, I ran across his posts again, or for whatever reason, I started thinking about John Titor, and then realized that it had been quite a while since it had all happened, and 9-10 years. And I'm like, wow, I wonder what did John say, and how did his predictions hold up? Now that we've got a little bit of time and perspective between us, and when I started looking into it, I was faced with some really incredible things. Now, looking at it 10 years later, wait a minute, there might be something to this. And the more I researched, it wouldn't stop. I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, so to speak. Oh, he got that wrong, or he got this wrong, or that kind of a thing. And it didn't happen that way when I was doing the research. The more I delved into it, the more I realized that there's probably a real story here. Or at the very least, a very compelling story that's hard to disprove.
Most of this research that you're talking about, this was posted on internet forums, and what was his methods of getting his word out to all of us?
Well, as far as we know, because we're fairly aware that he was posting elsewhere under other names, but we don't know what those other names were. And he was in communication with other people, whether they knew it or not. But he did post on, I think, the Art Bell forums for a while, and then one other forum, basically just whose topic was time travel. And it really it was fairly obvious. He had no problem talking about time travel, and it appears that he actually sought out time travel forums in order to talk about the possibility of time travel, the physics behind it, and the machine that makes use of it.
All right, well, we're definitely going to get to all of that. I'm still more interested in who you are. So let's carry on with what drove you and your inspiration in all of this.
Well, sure. The book itself, I had no intention when I started looking into this. Writing a book was not even on the horizon. It wasn't even. I've never written a book before. This is my first, and it will be my only book that I'll write. And like as everybody else, everybody's interested in time travel to some extent. Whether you're a diehard or just mildly interested in the possibility. But when what really led me to it was when I started finding more and more things lining up. 10 years later, that I started thinking that maybe there's something to this. So what I did was I wrote an email to a friend of mine, a man who I know, trust, and admire and respect. And I said, hey, I think that, because he was aware of the John Titor story, and we had never really spoken about it, but I mentioned it to him. I said, hey, I think this John Titor guy, there might be something to this. And what really surprised me was that he kind of dismissed it out of hand, basically saying, oh, everybody knows, quote unquote, everybody knows that the John Titor story has been proven to be a hoax, and I don't know why you're wasting your time on that. And
it is so simple for debunkers to put that little statement out there and then just toss away everyone that's coming to look. I'm impressed with your ability to carry forth through the debunkers or the trolls, as it were.
It's a rhetorical device, and because it's assumed that people smarter than you have looked into this and have deemed it to be fake. And then the more I researched, the less I found in research done by other people. It just seems that out of the blue one day, it just came down, or maybe a general consensus over time, that, this guy can't be for real, right? And they were, I saw pages and pages of people quoting how impossible time travel is, and considering that, what is more likely? Is it more likely that time travel is invented at some point in the future or even the past, and we're learning about it now using an unknown technology, using unknown or esoteric aspects of physics, or do we know all that there is to know, and that there is nothing left under the sun to be discovered? And quite frankly, I find that really hard to believe. But what kept bolstering my opinion was that I kept finding little nuggets of information that John Titor left behind that were being proven to exist or to have come for, like different technologies or heck, the displacement engine itself, the C204 that he said that he used. So anyway, the book was written by mistake or by accident, because it really grew from an email to my friend, who's acknowledged in the acknowledgments of the book. And the email just got so long and so unwieldy, and it was impossible to keep. It just grew out of the form of an email and turned into a book. And obviously, when you're met with success, you get inspired to continue. And as I was inspired more and more to continue, I found more and more, and it was a nice self-licking ice cream cone, so to speak. It was it kept growing and growing.
Well, we that this story is true. Yeah, you've done enough research into John Titor to at least make you believe this is true. But that must have been really a hard path for you to follow. And what levels did make it feel that you had a truth in this?
Well, what it was I kept trying to understand how or where the opinions came from that it was deemed to be a hoax, and there was nothing behind those opinions. It was just opinions without any foundation. I'm a very logical thinking person, if A, then B, then C, that kind of a thing. And it seemed like all the arguments against John being truthful in his statements just jumped to the conclusion of it being a hoax for, in my opinion, a variety of reasons. Either, some people will come at time travel thinking time travel's impossible, so he must be a hoax.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and that's completely...
I was going to say, I'm trying to prove the president's a clone, so, I understand that battle.
Sure, exactly.
And I have so much evidence, I believe it myself, man. Something about time travel, just if I could throw us off course for this next few minutes, is that I really feel like time is speeding up. I feel like my days appear shorter. Everything feels as if time has sped up. Is there anything in this story that would account for this feeling?
As such, no. But I would say this. I would say John Titor predicted a great many things. And these great many things would be, the fireworks, so to speak, would be the nuclear strike ending the Second American Civil War. Those are the big two events. But there are a lot of events that obviously lead up to the big show at the end. And what I feel it's possible is that we are noticing those events, and they're coming closer and closer together. You understand? So I do believe that, yes, we are rushing towards our fate, but because those events are happening closer and closer and closer together. Take a look at the Middle East right now. When the government in Egypt fell, I was looking at it, and my first question was, John Titor mentioned that one of the Great Pyramids was damaged in his time. I wonder how it was, because he never mentioned how it was damaged. And I see what's going on in Egypt right now, and I'm wondering at what point will there be damage done to one of the Great Pyramids. And one thing that I never would have expected was how the turmoil going on in the Middle East has spread like wildfire in dry grass. It's incredible how fast it has happened. And I won't say I lay blame, but I will say that the free flow of information is allowing that to happen. And what's the first thing that these tyrannical governments do is they shut down the flow of information. Look at Cuba and North Korea. But the internet is so pervasive, Twitter and Facebook, et cetera, that you just can't stop. You just can't stop the momentum, and there's a huge amount of momentum going on in the Middle East right now against those oppressive governments. It's incredible, and what you're feeling legitimately might just be the awareness of all these events just happening, bang, 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 one right after another, after another, after another. Right. And I can't help. I mean, after I've studied Titor, and I know there are a lot of people out there who have looked at his stuff, that you can't help but watch the news and look at it through a Titor lens. Did he talk about these things? And invariably, yes, 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 yes.
Amazing. Yeah, he didn't have that many good things to say about the people of this time, did he?
No, he blamed us for quite a bit. He blamed us for a lot of what happened to him, when he was a kid. He was born in 1998. He says that he was born in 1998. I mean, there's no, independent